Hello, this is Dr. Saurabh Patwardhan, and in this video, we'll be seeing a case of capsulorhexis extension, which I managed with quick pull, and we'll also see the hand positions during this surgical maneuver. So watch closely both the things, the surgical video as well as the video of the hand positions. So this is a case of mid-dilated pupil. Patient is on tamsulosin, so I expect floppy iris here. And initially I decided to go ahead without any pupil expansion ring. I am using methyl cellulose. So when I started capsulorhexis, you can watch closely. I started from the center, and here when I tried to flick it over, the rhexis went radially outside as I noticed here, and then I tried to pull it back using the cystitome, but it was not possible. So now the small pupil is hindrance for my view. I want to see where the capsulorhexis is exactly. So I decided to inject some Hylucoat, which is like Viscoat. In these cases of capsulorhexis extension, in most of the times we can pull it back, so it's not something of worry, but we should know how to do it exactly. So I am planning to use quick pull maneuver here. It was described by Dr. Nito and his colleagues, and I am examining the rhexis margin. As I can see that it is curving near the zonular attachments. That's the usual position where it stucks. So I'll be using microcapsulorhexis forceps, and I'm catching hold of this and quickly pulling it centrally. As you can see, once I pull it quickly, it usually comes back even from the zonular area, and we achieve a complete capsulorhexis. So I'm just completing it from the other side, and capsulorhexis is complete here. And there is an advantage of complete capsulorhexis, though in this case it is much larger than what I want it to be, but a complete capsulorhexis is very safe for doing phacoemulsification, because if there is a radial tear which is there remaining, then there is always a chance of extension of that towards the posterior capsule and causing rupture and then nucleus drop. So this particular maneuver helps me in case we get this capsulorhexis extension. And many times when I train my students, fellows or trainees, I think this is a very common issue of capsulorhexis extension. So we can manage with this quick pull maneuver very easily. So here I have decided to put a B-hex pupil expansion ring, because this is a floppy iris already, and because of the maneuvers the pupil has become even smaller. So when there is already a capsulorhexis, we have to make sure that this pupil expansion ring doesn't capture the capsulorhexis margin. So when we put it under the iris, we slightly lift the iris up with that. So the capsulorhexis, if it is engaged, we can see it being lifted up, and we can release it when we are putting it. So the B-hex ring is in place now, and I'll be going ahead with the phacoemulsification. As I mentioned, the capsulorhexis here is complete, so I'm not worried about its extension to posterior capsule. As you can see, this is a left eye of the patient, and I usually sit at the head end, but you can also choose to do it from temporal side, which is also a very popular approach. And if you notice, the incision is and on the supranasal side, this patient doesn't have any astigmatism pre-existing which needs to be tackled. Otherwise, I will put my main incision on the steepest axis possible. The chopper here is basically a modified Sinskey. I called it Patwardhan's hybrid chopper, and you can see it me using it for some horizontal chops. It's very useful, and also for routine trench divide or vertical chops also I use it. And I will share how to make this in another video where I am doing a horizontal chop. And I use the basic technique of trench divide, stop and chop for these cases. It's a soft grade cataract, so the first division is very important, and once you have division, and now you can see that while maneuvering this nucleus, we have to be careful about the pupil expansion ring, that the chopper or the Sinskey should not catch hold of these flanges, otherwise it will get dislodged. So the phaco is over, so I will be doing now cortex aspiration. One should also know how to place iris retractors, because in certain cases it is a better approach than this pupil expansion ring, for example in subluxated cataracts, also in very shallow anterior chambers. So these capsulorhexis or the iris retractors can be of better use in those situations, and we can also expand the pupil the way we want with iris retractors. Iris retractors can also be then used to support the CCC in case of subluxated cataract. So in case of subluxated cataract, I go for iris retractors, but for this floppy iris, I think the B-hex pupil expansion ring works very well. So the cortex aspiration is over. I'll be implanting the IOL. So this is a single piece hydrophobic IOL which I am going to implant. When implanting the IOL in the bag, when the B-hex ring is in place, just be careful that the IOL should not take the B-hex along with it. So sometimes it gets trapped, so you just need to be little careful while injecting. Now if you remember, the capsulorhexis is much larger in the inferior part where it had gone out and was pulled back. So what I am planning to do here is put the IOL in the bag and rotate it horizontally, that is 90 degrees to the area of extension. Though this IOL is unlikely to get out of the bag, but we know that in the area where the capsulorhexis is very large, the haptics may come out of the bag as the capsule fibroses later and may irritate the iris. So I don't want that to happen. So as you notice that I rotated the IOL 90 degrees to the area of extension, and I am now removing the B-hex ring, dislodging it from the iris, and then just pulling it out. Any pupil expansion device that we use generally will disperse these pigments, because the pupillary margin has this pupillary rough which is made up of pigments, but generally we don't see any inflammation because of that in the post-operative area. In post-operative period, obviously I will be giving more steroids for the initial period to take care of inflammation, because we have touched the iris or handled the iris more than what we generally do in a routine case. So definitely I will be giving more dose of steroids in first couple of days, and then I will reduce it back to the usual dosing. In non-diabetic patient, I also give oral steroids that takes care of the initial inflammation. And what I did here was proper visco wash, because it is a very important that particularly when the pupil is small that you go underneath and keep flushing the anterior chamber as well as the posterior part of the iris also, to wash out all the OVD which is there inside the bag behind the iris. Also, this helps in dislodging any small epinucleus or nucleus pieces which are there behind the iris. Thank you very much.